Hey everybody, my name is Darian Dozier and welcome to Melanated and Meducated.
Fox, where's the? And it's like, dude, she don't have any socks because you ain't go get any. Go get the socks. Are you driving down the street and the little head pops up and almost scares you? Like, oh, where'd you come from? I forgot I had a kid. There's a kid here.
For having another human with you.
Another human, but hey, she's grown now. She survived, and we laugh about
I know she's got some great stories.
it. Right. She survived, and so have all the other ones, which, it's kind of funny. They have survived. I had one, and every time he was with me, he got hurt. And his parents, he come back with a bump or something. They were like, "What happened?" Nothing happened. He's fine.
And kind
He's
of the irony
fine.
is sending these kids off with a doctor and then they might come back banged up.
They may come back banged up. It's not my fault. I didn't know I was supposed to catch him when he came off the large slide. Nobody told me that. So I watched him fly right on Bobby. We went to the pharmacy and got some candy and a little stuff to put on the band-aid. So
It's okay. Kids are parent proof.
right.
So just a couple more questions. Thank you again for talking with me. This has been a great talk. I've learned so much about you. And I think that this will be a really interesting video. How has being a Black woman in medicine kind of shaped your perspective on just the field or your position in medicine, or just kind of what's going on in the world in medicine?
I think a couple of things. One, we Black women only represent 2% of physicians, so it's rare. We're not, we're unicorns. It's not a whole bunch of us. Um, and some of that, the reason why I've decided, I've taught before, but not in a kind of full time capacity, meaning, I've had students come through to rotate or do those types of things, but there has to be somebody else to come behind me. And so representation really matters. And with that comes along, all the isms that can come with it. You're going to experience
Mhm.
them. Recently, like within this past year, there was a fellow, meaning she has finished residency, but she's doing a subspecialty in pulmonary critical care. And so she was working with us kind of PRN as a hospitalist. And she experienced some utter disrespect, inappropriate behavior from some medical staff persons, um, that really could put patient care in jeopardy, but was just really out of line. And honestly, they felt comfortable doing it because she was young,
Mhm.
because she was female, and because she was Black. And so I'm in the office, and when she came in to tell me, and she, upset, obviously, and goes through it. And so I was like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And so, went through the whole process and, got all that straightened out. And so later she said, you know, when I came in and I told you what was going on, you didn't act surprised. You didn't, you know, get all up in arms. You just kind of calmly said, okay, and then said, this is what you do this, do this, do this. And she was like, how did you stay so calm? I said, because that's not my first time seeing or experiencing it.
Right.
And so, you know, a better way for you to navigate this so that in the end it's resolved and you can not deal with it as much, but also where you can deal with it appropriately and that you can, don't compromise patient care in the process.
Right.
And so some of it is a learning experience. And I can't say that sometimes you're not going to have to as I say, occasionally I have to put a little bass in my voice, because sometimes when I'm, a little more introverted and quieter, people think that have a different impression.
Right.
And then a concern when, I stand up and I'm 5'10" and you got a little bit bass, it kind of brings a different shift in the atmosphere. So I think that's going to happen. But the beauty of having the internet and social media now is that there are groups to support you, and that I can vent to, and people can vent to me, or that even understand your victories that you can't really explain to your family because you got to go into too many details for them to understand what you're talking about, that it's all lost
Right.
in what's happened. So and that works. And even when I came here, there were Black female physicians that reached out to me and said, "Hey, I know you're from this area, but you haven't been here for a while. Back in town, we're here. Let us know." And if it wasn't a pandemic, we probably all would have got together and gone to lunch. But otherwise, we just kind of have to use social media and Zoom
Virtual
and
dates.
do all that. Right.
Okay. Well, my last question: what advice do you have for current medical students or pre-meds as they're figuring stuff out?
For pre-med, it would be to start early. If this is what you want to do, you need to be doing summer programs, research, community service, those things to put on your application. Meaning, and it needs to be early. Early is on time.
Mhm.
On time is late, and late is unacceptable. Get it in early, as in the first day, which means you should start working on your statements, making sure everything is there, start asking for recommendations ahead of time. Because the other thing is, if you start asking for recommendations and everybody else is asking for them, that could delay your process as well. So, really, if you are pre med, starting at the beginning of your junior year,
Mhm.
and take whatever testing programs for the MCAT so that you can have that done. Start looking at places to go. Start looking at how much it's going to cost for applications
So
because
expensive.
it costs money. Now's not the time to go buy the new shoes and the purses and do all of that kind of stuff. It's time to start saving whatever extra money you have for that, and also letting people know that, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. So because you never know who may support you. I mean,
Right.
a lot of people always, there are people who we think should support us. They may not want to, they may not be able to, or whatever. But learn to accept support, even if it's from someone that you weren't expecting it from,
Yes.
and go with that. And that's in medicine too. For medical students, is to remember that you're here to go to medical school and to finish, because we can get caught up in public service activities and other things. And once you hit medical school, you're a little older, you're a more mature adult, depending on that. And so there are things that come along. Some people are married, you got kids, you have all of those things. And they actually have to have your attention, but you have to learn to set priorities and then follow them. Make a list. This is what I have to do now.
Mhm.
Um, and do that. But the other thing is, before you start studying, before you start something, if you take 5 minutes, close your eyes or leave them open or do whatever, just to breathe and focus. And this is what I'm going to do, and see yourself doing it. And if you have a problem, because it gets hard,
Right.
that you may not see yourself doing it, then leave some positive notes around. Take a sticky note, put it on your computer, put it in your study room, put it on the mirror in your bathroom, because even in that time when you may not believe it that you can do this, you can still read.
Right.
And the more you hear something, the more you start believing it, the more you start doing it, the more success comes. So you start doing it more. So you want to do that. You want to have positive energy, but also know that medicine can haze. It's a hazing profession.
It seems to
I'm
be
just putting it out there.
quote. so far.
Huh?
I said med school seems to be the downhill slope so far.
Yeah.
We'll see. 'Cause
So it can be hazing, it can be challenging, and it can be emotionally taxing because you're going to start seeing some things the more you progress that can be emotionally challenging, and understand to talk that out. And if you need help, ask for help. Because I always tell people there are some things that you will see in medicine, even starting out your first year in gross anatomy. There was some things that just they'll see right that you're supposed to be doing, but yet you did it. Yet you skinned a human being, and you tell anybody that outside of the context of medicine, that mess is crazy. Let's
Right.
just be realistic. That's crazy.
Hemisections just threw me for a loop. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing that.
Right. So that's what we're doing today. Right.
No boundaries.
So,
Doing that. Okay.
right. But also, when you have an opportunity to take some time and to do some things, then do it. And it doesn't have to be anything big. I think two of the best things that I learned in medical school about relaxing, one was to take a bubble bath because that sit, soak, take a deep breath. We didn't have cell phones and all of that. You might have had a pager. Um, but put that outside the room. And take that minute. The other thing was blowing bubbles. 50 cent at the store.
Hmm.
Sit outside. Why? Because in order to blow a good bubble or a good stream, you got to take a deep breath. You have to slowly and control your breathing and inhale and do all of that. And so cheap bubble bath works miracles.
So
And
what I'm
so,
hearing is bubbles leads to
huh?
happiness. Bubbles leads to happiness is what I'm hearing.
It, exactly. So doing that, if it's a coloring book, something simple, watching a cartoon, if you got to take a mental health break, take the mental health break. It's okay.
Now that's really good advice. I'm gonna have to borrow some of those for my blog. Because I did not think about those. I just want to wrap this up with some quick fire questions. So just first thing comes to your mind, say
And this can be dangerous.
it. Okay, favorite ice cream.
Favorite ice cream, Bluebell.
Favorite artist.
Ooh, that's kind of hard. Um, can I pass and come back to that one?
Yes. Favorite candy.
Favorite candy, chocolate turtles,
Apple or Android.
Apple,
Nike or Adidas.
Nike,
Favorite sport.
track and field.
Favorite movie.
Um, color purple,
Morning bird or night owl.
morning bird. If you don't believe it, meet me here at school. I'm here generally before everybody.
I was like, I'm sure we have bumped into each other at 7 a.m. Like, hello.
Right.
Favorite restaurant.
Oh, Mazins in Lake Charles, Louisiana, the fish of Latin, grilled snapper with jumbo lump crab meat and a lemon saffron sauce.
I love you. Got the whole meal planned out.
Oh yeah.
And favorite artist.
Favorite artist. I'm gonna say Conrad Johnson. Conrad Johnson was a jazz artist here in Houston, and did jazz man starting with uh, high schools that became popular, and a lot of jazz musicians were there. Then there was a movie that Jamie Foxx made of him called I think it's Thunder Roll. But I grew up. He actually was one of my instructors, and he did a summer jazz workshop, and his sister taught me piano. But if there are sometimes when, especially in Houston, if I'm driving around, if there's something that comes, I can still hear those parts and sing them and do that probably a little bit more than I could do Prince, even though I know most of those songs too. Um, I, So I would say that. I would say Conrad Johnson.
I have learned so much about you and medicine. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I'm going to chop this video up, get it edited so that way everyone else can hear all the great advice that you've given me.
They're gonna be like, she is crazy as all get out.
Okay, they'll keep them entertained.
Right.
I don't want the like boring interviews. I want the fun, everyone's laughing interviews. So
You want the fun interviews? Like I was like, oh Lord, the 5 questions. I don't know what you may ask.
oh, just
You may get the compliments. I may get called in the office.
all family friendly things. I need people to come back.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
You too. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye bye.